This is Dave. We're at the County Line Farm out here in western Pennsylvania. It turned out to be a nice day here. We had a little bit of rain last night. Typical Pennsylvania day. Lots and lots of rain and lots of overcast, but the sun's poking out through. I have a collection of antique tractors, and this one, we're going to start with this one. This is a 1937 McCormick Deering W30. This tractor was built in the 30s. They made about 32,000 of them. This tractor is run on gasoline. Now it has a gas manifold, but it originally was burned on kerosene. It has a main tank for the kerosene, and there's a small tank behind that for the gasoline. You start it on gasoline, you got it hot, and then you switched over to kerosene, and it will run. Kerosene was the popular fuel back in the 30s because gasoline was being used in automobiles. Back then they called it distillate gasoline, or they called it either distillate, kerosene, or tractor fuel was three names for the fuel. But the most popular was distillate because it was cheaper than gasoline. Farmers didn't want to spend too much money on the gasoline to put in the tractor, so they used distillate. This tractor's on steel wheels. There was an option back then. You could run rubber tires on the tractor instead of steel, but it was an option that was more expensive. Of course, we've got a little bit of ivy growing on it, but as you can see, it was behind the ivy, though, there was a magneto that produces electricity for the ignition system. This is a triple powered tractor. The triple power tractor is IH marketed this tractor as triple power, as it has the belt pulleys you can see here on the side of the tractor, and then drawbar on the back, which pulled the implement, which was a plow or disc or some sort of tillage implement, and it had a Pto shaft that went out the back to run some sort of an item that was used that needed power behind the tractor. This is a newer tractor that I have. It was originally, this tractor was originally red. International Harvester went to red in late 36. This is a 37 model, so this has, still has a little bit of shade of red left on it, whereas the first International tractors were gray with red wheels. This one would have been all red. The original paint that was the gray paint that they had was not a very good grade. It ended up being washed off, or either washed off or the sun faded it out. Whereas the red paint was better technology, and the red paint lasted longer. We'll go around here to the back of the tractor.
See if I can.
We'll go around here to the back of the tractor, and we'll show you the drawbar and the Pto shaft. Good. Again, I told you before, this was a kerosene burning tractor. They originally burned on kerosene, but then you would start the tractor on gasoline. This is what they call a kerosene manifold. This tractor now has a gas manifold, but this is a kerosene manifold, and I just brought this over to show what it looked like. The carburetor would have been mounted down here. It would suck the gas or the fuel that's in the carburetor up through here, and the exhaust manifold would preheat the fuel in the mixture to get it hot so that it could burn lower grade fuel, aka distillate, tractor fuel, kerosene. And you would flip this over to the hot side after it got hot, you'd flip it over, and that would redirect the gases around the intake in order to heat the fuel that was being sucked into the engine. Here's the PTO shaft. You can't see that this tractor was probably just used for tillage. Just pulled probably a plow and disc. There'd be a PTO shaft that would stick out here to run a drive shaft, like a corn binder or some sort of a powered implement that was on the back, say a harvester of some sort or whatever. But this tractor still has the plate on it, which indicates to me that it had not run anything powered behind it. So it was basically just probably belt pulley and pulled a plow most of its life. I bought this tractor from a collector. He had it for quite a while. He bought it from an Amishman, and the Amish like these tractors because they have good lugging power and they're good for the belt work, for a threshing machine or corn grinder or whatever. This tractor, he bought this from an Amishman, and he put it in his collection in the field, put a cap on the exhaust pipe, and somehow the cap had gotten removed. Water went down into the engine, and the engine now is locked up. So I'm currently spraying some sort of, whether it's PB Blaster. A lot of people do use different things. I don't think it really matters as long as you've got something in the cylinder working on it that's a petroleum product. And I personally was using PB Blaster, but like I said, everybody's got their own concoction to use. Some people mix transmission fluid with gasoline. Some people give motor oil with kerosene. I've heard everything across the board, but I prefer mine in an aerosol. This tractor has lugs on it, digging lugs. You need those for traction. Sometimes they have more, sometimes they have less. Like I said too, this tractor was also had an option for rubber tires if you had the extra money. Again, I bought this tractor from the collector, and I brought it home, and I've been trying to free up the engine. It's probably going to be a future project, but right now we're just using it as yard art. And this tractor came factory with fenders and a belt pulley. The air cleaner is also factory issue. It's got an adjustable drawbar on the back, and I don't know if you can see the intake or not, but that's what the gas manifold looks like. It's directly behind the stack, the air cleaner stack, with the carburetors bolted to. That's what they call a gasoline manifold. I'm assuming that the Amishman was just burning gasoline in it in recent days, which you can. It's easier to start on, it's easier to get a hold of, and you don't have to preheat anything, so it's easier to use. I think I didn't mention on the other side, the front right wheel is worn from plowing. I wanted to kind of show that too. I want to mention too that on the front steel wheels, if you can see, this one here is very sharp, and although the inside ring is gone, this is what's called the furrow wheel on the front for the tractor. The wheel would set down in the furrow that was dug by the plow from the previous pass, and it would rub on the inside of the furrow wall, and it would wear the inside of the wheels off. So I kind of like to find another wheel for that was in better shape, that had more meat on it, on the inside. But like I said, the tractor does not run currently. It does roll and steer, and that's how we got it here. And eventually we'll pull it in the shop and see what we got here and see if it's restorable.